Chapter 13. A silvery fanfare abruptly split the air, and Spike jerked away from Twilight in surprise. In the doorway appeared the slim, willowy figures of the two heavenly princesses side by side, their manes streaming in an otherworldly breeze. "Their royal majesties, the goddesses of day and night, Princesses Celestia and Luna!" boomed a pony with a slicked mane and a fussy mustache standing beside the door. The princesses began a slow, poised walk into the ballroom, their heads nodding graciously to the bowing and curtsying guests. Celestia looked a little tired of all the formalities, though her usual benevolent smile was still firmly in place. Luna looked as distant as the moon, her face impassive and her head held high. "Please, my friends," Celestia called in a clear, carrying voice. "No need to stand on ceremony." She clapped her hooves, and the orchestra obediently began a waltz. Ponies tentatively straightened from their bows and edged back to the dance floor. A light chatter resumed. Luna made a beeline directly for Spike, nodding elegantly to the ponies that greeted her on her way. "I saw the ambassador," she said in a low voice once she had reached them. "I don't think you have a gift for diplomatic speech, Spike. I have never seen a wyvern so furious." He smiled sheepishly. "He didn't much like what I had to say." Her lips quirked. "That was obvious."
"He was fantastic,"
said Pinky.
"He sure showed that slinky little guy what for."
"It was very dragony around here for a while," Twilight said, her hoofs still resting comfortingly on Spike's face. "I did try to explain." Spike attempted to defend himself, but it was weak and he knew it. He wrinkled his snout. "Well, I didn't really try to make him feel better about it, I suppose."
"There was a distinct lack of appeasing the angry ambassador going on,"
Twilight agreed, but as she spoke, her hoof absently stroked his cheek. "I might have expected your pride would take a hoof," the princess said, her eyes sparkling with mirth. "You may be a very different sort of dragon, but you are still a dragon." "No, really?" Spike snorted. Then he realized with a start that he had been flippant at the princess and sucked in a breath. Luna chuckled. "Did you not hear, my sister? No need to stand on ceremony. Especially you, my friend."
"Manners, mister."
Twilight tapped him admonishingly. He gave them all a crooked, rueful smile. "Sorry, guess I'm just not in the greatest of moods right now."
"We understand, Spike,"
Fluttershy said sympathetically.
"Well, the night's not over yet,"
Pinky declared, before wolfing down a few more of the dainty nibbles from the platter.
Oh yeah, so good,"
she mumbled, before standing up straight as a ruler, blue eyes bright.
"It's still gonna be Spike's best night ever. So what if there's googly gawkers and angry ambassadors and posh ponies who dance with Rarity? We gotta get this party happening."
Twilight froze. Pinky, last time..." Pinky blew a disdainful raspberry before stooping to peck up a few more canapes. She said, munching blissfully. Then she swallowed and popped back upright.
"Later. I'm off to find Rainbow Dash. Now there's a pony who knows how to party."
She was gone in a flurry of crumbs. "So, is she always..." Luna began.
Yes,
sighed Spike, Twilight, and Fluttershy in unison. "I see." Luna blinked a little before cocking an eyebrow. "Laughter suits her."
"That's our Pinkie Pie."
Twilight nodded, her face alight with fond amusement. Luna gazed in the direction the party pony had disappeared for another moment, her face bemused, before shaking herself slightly and turning back to Spike. It seems that Celestia's other purpose in inviting you has been well and truly achieved. You have been meeting very important ponies all night, I believe. Many have spoken to us about you and reported their favorable impressions.
Oh, good,
Spike said in relief.
There were so many, I was nervous I'd forgotten some pony's name or something. That would have been embarrassing.
Luna smiled. They are very taken with your friends' outfits as well.
That I know,
Spike said, with a mixture of sadness and pride.
They look great, huh?
Her flawless face creased with concern. Something is wrong? Spike shuffled a little.
No,
he said eventually.
Just something ending.
Luna gave him a long, searching look before nodding. Endings can also be beginnings, my friend, she said gently. I am testament to that. Twilight's hoof twitched on his face as her head span towards the slender goddess. She stared at her before saying tentatively, Princess?
Twilight, you're sort of smushing my face,
Spike managed. Twilight glanced back at him to see his cheeks squashed beneath her hoof. She jerked it away with a self-conscious little laugh.
Sorry.
Spike rubbed at his cheek a little with the back of one forepaw.
So what else did all those posh ponies say?
He asked. They are curious, as you might expect, Luna said, turning her head to view the swirling dancers pensively. Several have been back and forth from the ballroom all night. Some even went so far as to ask for some sort of demonstration.
From me,
Spike blurted. I did not think it would be suitable, Luna said. It is a ball, after all. Perhaps in the gardens later.
I don't know,
Spike said, picking at his claws again.
Lots of ponies get a bit freaked out by my fire.
I don't think the animals would like it either,
Fluttershy put in. Luna's head inclined politely. Then we shall not suggest it. No doubt our sister would announce it immediately to increase our little pony's acceptance of you.
Luna?
Spike murmured.
You're using the royal we again.
Oh, the princess rolled her eyes. All those guests, greeting each one with full ceremonial protocol does tend to get repetitive. I remember, Twilight said with an irritable twist of her lips. So, what else has been happening in Ponyville since I last saw you? Luna asked, her horn flaring and a small hors d'oeuvre levitating towards her. Spike hummed a little in thought.
Well, you know about...
He faltered and then sighed.
This morning, Razorfang decided it would be a great idea to stomp on over to Ponyville. I still haven't figured out why.
The whole of Ponyville saw you stand up to him, Spike,
said Twilight.
They saw me yell at him. A lot, he said ruefully. Him being there just got me so mad. And so soon after the harpoon, I guess I just sort of snapped a little bit. A snappette? A snappino?
He was trespassing, was he not?
Yup, blatantly.
Spike scowled.
Who knows, maybe he was just trying to make me feel the way he did when I was a baby and ate his gems. Like I haven't got the point already. Anyway, Fluttershy made him shut up long enough to listen.
Luna looked with astonishment at the meek yellow Pegasus, who ducked behind her mane at the sudden attention.
She has experience,
Twilight said with a short laugh.
Oh, I got another letter from Just, too,
Spike remembered.
He might have found out something about Huffy. She was the assistant to the great and powerful Trixie. He's in the Brumby Bushlands right now looking for her. If I don't hear from him tomorrow, I have to inform every pony of where he's gone.
Another examination dragon, Luna said, leaning forward. Another pony-raised dragon living in Equestria.
Right,
Spike nodded.
But Trixie's no Twilight.
Spike,
Twilight said, half pleased and half embarrassed.
I found him.
Pinky came bouncing towards them, the many frills and ruffles on her dress flopping about comically. She gave them all a bright smile before looking back over her shoulder. Rainbow Dash and Applejack were walking somewhat unsteadily behind her, and Applejack had a hoof over Rainbow's shoulder as she lurched a little unevenly.
Is Applejack drunk?
Fluttershy asked incredulously.
No, don't be silly. Of course she's not drunk.
Pinky waved a hoof airily.
She's plastered.
Am not,
Applejack said stubbornly, her green eyes focusing and unfocusing. Then she frowned, swaying, and turned to Dash.
Tell you what, them fancy drinks don't even touch the sides. Ain't a patch on Granny's cider. Cider.
Your granny doesn't make cider,
snorted Dash, also weaving a little on her hooves.
Calling it cider is an insult to perfectly drinkable ciders everywhere.
You insulting my granny?
Applejack glared at Rainbow Dash's ear.
I'm just saying I like a drink that don't turn into fumes in my mouth,
Dash said, patting Applejack's shining, green-clad back.
You two are really out of it, aren't you?
Twilight said, her face stern but her eyes dancing with laughter.
Who says?
Applejack thrust out her jaw pugnaciously.
I'm as raring to go as ever I was. Just you come over here and say that, you two wobbly Twilights.
I'm not the one wobbling,
Twilight said.
Well, at least there's only one of me,
Applejack retorted, leaning more heavily around Dash's neck.
Hey, AJ,
Dash guffawed.
Check out the princess's face.
Applejack raised her head groggily before she started chuckling as well.
Wait, that's the funniest thing I ever did see,
she hooted before lurching over to Luna and hooking her other hoof over the alicorn's slender neck.
You're all right, you know that, princess? You sure do pull the funniest faces. Sorta wish you'd stick with just one head, though. It's making me queasy.
Rainbow Dash had ended up before Spike when Applejack yanked her over to the princess.
How come you guys all look so down in the dumps?
She demanded, peering at one face and then the next.
What's happened? Where's Rarity?
Oh, I saw her dancing with 3 fancy city ponies, Applejack said. There were 3 of her, too, so no pony got left out. I think that's real nice, don't you?
Rainbow Dash evidently wasn't quite as incapacitated as Applejack because she gave Spike a piercing look.
That's so,
she said. Spike swallowed before setting his jaw.
It's fine, Rainbow Dash, he said quietly. She's happy.
Her fuchsia eyes suddenly brimmed, and she flung herself against him, her wings flopping about drunkenly.
He's so grown up,
she gasped and yanked his head down to give it a fierce headbutt. Stars rotated before his eyes.
You are,
she said intently and indistinctly.
You're so awesome. It totally and completely and totally boggles my mind. You boggle. Best dragon ever. You're the best.
She bawled, her hoof hooking around his neck. He stood a little to brace her when she suddenly slumped, dangling from his neck like a colorful tie.
You're the best. Maybe we should think about calling it a night,
Twilight said, as Dash blubbered proudly over Spike, and Applejack began to nod onto the princess's shoulder.
Bit of help?
Spike asked.
Seconded,
Luna said, her face a conflicting mixture of perturbed, alarmed, and amused.
Here, Rainbow Dash,
Fluttershy said in a soothing voice.
I think I should get you some water.
Pfft, water,
Dash said scornfully, before the foreleg she had hooked around his neck suddenly gave way. She landed in a messy pile at his feet.
Whoops,
she said blankly, before breaking into raucous laughter. That roused Applejack. She jerked away from Luna's shoulder with a start and a grunt, before reeling away with a,
"Sorry about that. Hey, what you doing on the floor, RD?" "Sittin'."
Dash grinned. Applejack threw her head back and laughed as well, though this upset her balance and sent her careening across the marble. Spike carefully and slowly halted her stumbling with a forepaw, and she rocked back to sit heavily next to Dash. The pair of inebriated ponies giggled and guffawed nonsensically, and Spike couldn't help but chuckle at the picture they made.
"Don't encourage them,"
said Twilight reprovingly, though her lips were twitching.
"Jeez, lighten up, egghead,"
Dash complained.
"No pony better be sick on the ride home, or I'm making you walk,"
Spike warned.
"I ain't gonna be sick,"
Applejack said crossly.
"This stuff take a lot more to get me tipsy. I'm fresh as a ducky. Daily. Daisy. I said that the first time." "Sure you did."
Twilight raised an eyebrow. Then she turned to Luna.
"I'm sorry for my friends, Princess,"
she said.
"I ain't. I got the best friends in the whole of Equestria,"
Applejack said happily, hugging Rainbow Dash around the neck tightly.
"Air,"
Dash croaked.
"It is quite all right, Twilight Sparkle,"
Luna said, a small smile on her lips.
"It is a party, after all. At least there are 2 ponies here that are enjoying themselves."
Pinky rolled her eyes.
"You said it. I can't believe they both got drunk,"
Twilight sighed.
"Hey,"
Rainbow Dash said unsteadily, shaking her hoof at Twilight with the solemn seriousness of the completely tanked.
"Hey, if I wasn't drunk, listen, if I wasn't drunk, then I've totally wasted all that Sunny Huckle wine. That'd be a real darn shame."
Applejack nodded owlishly. Spike tried valiantly to hide his chortles, but he was fighting a losing battle. Eventually, they burst out of him in a bark of laughter, a plume of smoke rising above him as he laughed uproariously at them.
"You guys,"
he panted weakly between chuckles,
"are priceless, you know that?"
Pinky also began to laugh at them, doubling over and leaning against Spike.
Oh, I know,
she gasped.
"We've got Rainbow Splash."
"Apple tanked,"
Spike countered.
"Rainbow Sloshed."
"Dash of spirits."
"Applejack."
Spike blinked, then shrugged.
"I got nothing."
"Appletini works again,"
Pinky pointed out. Spike harumphed.
"I was trying for new material,"
he said loftily.
"I think it's time to go home,"
Twilight said, shaking her head.
"I'll go tell Rarity."
"Could you please thank your sister for inviting us?"
Spike asked Luna. She nodded.
"I will see you in a few days, Spike," she said. "We will both be there."
Spike swallowed before nodding back.
"Right. Okay. See you then."
Luna gently pushed her head under his, the touch of her cool, strange mane making him shiver once more.
"Be strong and stay safe,"
she told him, before bowing her head to Pinky, Fluttershy, and Twilight, quirking her lips at the 2 ponies now singing off-key from the floor, and then walked away into the crowd.
"See you later, alligator,"
Dash called after her, before joining Applejack in another loud, slurred chorus of Full of Fire.
Okay, now I know we've got to get out of here, Spike said, wincing.
I'll be back in a moment, Twilight said. Fluttershy, do you think you could get some water into those two haybrains?
Who are you calling a haybrain?
Dash retorted. Applejack nudged her.
RD, stick with it. You're making me do all the singing here, she said.
Oh, right.
Dash raised her voice once more. Spike cringed as they warbled.
Why can't you hear me say?
Pinky, Fluttershy, he begged.
Pinky snickered, passing water to Fluttershy.
With their mouths open, it's easier to get the water in,
she said wickedly.
I'll sit on you,
Spike threatened, but Pinky just laughed some more. Dash swallowed around a mouthful of water hurriedly before bellowing,
Soaring above my sorrows.
Applejack raised her voice as well on the last long high note, and the two of them tipped their heads back to holler it at the ceiling. Several of the fancy ponies nearby sniffed in disapproval before moving away, their heads held high.
Why can't you hear?
Applejack sang, her hooves conducting erratically.
Me say?
Sucking in a huge breath, they howled the ending to the ceiling once more.
I'm full of fire to stay.
Spike sighed in relief as the stupid song ended. Fluttershy patted his paw comfortingly, though she was biting rather hard down on her lip. Pinky was unabashedly in hysterics, the hoof holding water for Rainbow shaking with the force of her laughter.
Encore!
She squealed, stamping her hind hooves in glee.
Encore!
You dare, Spike growled.
I do say it is so lovely to hear some pony who appreciates my work,
said a drawling, self-satisfied voice, and Spike raised his eyes with a certain dread to see none other than Sapphire Shores, fantastically made up and dressed in a risque number bedecked with feathers. Her slanted golden eyes lingered over the two inebriated ponies curiously.
Now what is that fabulous material their gowns are made of?
She stopped as she spotted Spike's claw behind the two singers, and her gaze traveled up and up until she was looking into his face.
Well then,
she breathed.
Heard you were here, but oh, you know how it is. You get to signing autographs and suddenly, poof, your whole night's a write-off. So many fans, so little time.
Spike sat back down, wishing that the roof would cave in or the floor open up.
I guess,
he mumbled. Sapphire beamed.
Darling, you have been such an inspiration to me,
she cooed, sashaying up to him and fluttering her glitter-encrusted eyelashes.
So I hear,
Spike said, leaning away from the deadly eyelashes. Sapphire Shores gave him a sultry smile.
I hope you enjoyed my little, homage,
she said, tilting her head to the most attractive and photogenic angle.
Every pony else has, you know, and out it has gone double platinum in no time flat. Sensational or what, baby? Spike's not a baby,
Pinky scoffed.
Hey, you got yourself an admirer, huh?
Sapphire nudged Spike brazenly.
You work fast, kid,
she said, and winked.
Pinky's a friend,
Spike said, brow beginning to furrow. Sapphire nodded absently.
Uh-huh, that's great, I hear ya. So anyway, you gotta tell me,
she said, leaning close to Spike and dropping her voice to a dramatic whisper.
Who designed their amazing outfits? Those are your scales, right? 'Cause they'd be the perfect costumes for my new upcoming Sapphire on Fire equestrian tour. There's a lot of money in it for the right pony.
She paused and slowly smiled.
Or dragon. Rarity made them.
Fluttershy put in, trying to get Applejack to drink some water.
Rarity of Carousel Boutique, huh?
Sapphire barely glanced at Fluttershy, instead giving Spike an arch look.
I did read something in Clotheshorse about her and dragon skin.
She's getting my old scales, Spike said shortly, beginning to get annoyed with the pushy, flamboyant pony. You can speak to her about it. She'll be getting them next time I shed too. That'll be next winter-ish.
Darling, that is simply too far away,
Sapphire declared, her intricately bound hoof rising to her mouth.
My tour starts in 2 weeks. I can't possibly wait that long. No, I'll have to offer for your...
She glanced down at the lolling Rainbow Dash and Applejack, and her eyebrow twitched.
Friends' dresses. Surely selling them to me for such a fabulous use is better than letting them hang in some old closet in Whatsitville.
Ponyville.
Spike, Pinky, and Fluttershy chorused.
Gesundheit,
Sapphire said.
Mine's not for sale,
Pinky said with uncharacteristic seriousness, her brows a straight line across her eyes.
Neither is mine,
Fluttershy piped up, before meekly stepping back into Spike's shadow.
She faltered.
I'd rather not.
Somebody wantin' our gala dresses?
Rainbow Dash looked around blearily before spotting Sapphire Shores.
Hey, look, AJ! It's Sapphire Shirley!
Applejack snorted and rolled over.
It's Shores, you silly filly,
she mumbled.
Oh, whoops.
Dash bit her lip apologetically.
Sorry, Miss Shirley.
Shores,
hissed Applejack.
That's what I said,
Rainbow said with wobbly dignity.
Your ears are drunk.
My ears ain't drunkerer than your mouth,
Applejack snapped.
What did she want again?
Rainbow Dash peered back at Spike and the others, who were staring a little helplessly at the train wreck that was a drunken Applejack and Rainbow Dash in front of an Equestria-renowned pop star.
She wants to buy your gala dress,
Pinky explained.
She wants to buy them all.
Huh,
Applejack said dumbly, before beaming up at the fancy Canterlot pop star.
Well, missy, that's a mighty fine offer, and once upon a time I might even have taken you up on it. But this here shiny green suit is as special to me as the very first dress Rarity made me. And so I'm afraid I have to say, no deal. I'll make it worth your while,
Sapphire entreated.
Still no deal,
Applejack said cheerily.
Now quit waving your money about. It ain't gonna do no good. This suit's staying with me.
Sapphire frowned in surprise and turned hopefully to Rainbow Dash.
How about you?
Nope, I'm not giving up my dragon scales either,
Dash declared with the solemn emphasis of the very drunk.
These are special dresses. These are my friend's scales, sewn by my friend into a dress for me, who just so happens to be their friend. And the only way you're getting them is out of my cold, dead hooves. So there, lady.
Rainbow Dash!
Gasped Rarity's shocked and appalled voice from behind them.
Did I say something wrong?
Dash swung her head this way and that, searching for Rarity, her expression thoroughly puzzled.
You came on a bit strong there,
Spike murmured to her, and she huffed.
Well, I'm not gonna sell your scales,
she said, looking wounded.
Gathered that,
Spike answered, a little smile creeping across his face. He honestly hadn't realized that their dresses meant that much to his friends, and Rainbow Dash's blunt explanation had warmed him to the core. It was so like her to defend him, even when he didn't need it. Drunk or not, she was the most loyal friend a dragon could wish for.
I think half the ballroom gathered that.
What?
Twilight said, appearing behind the horrified Rarity and rubbing at her forehead.
Has been happening. This time,
she added with well-honed sarcasm.
That, Twilight,
said Rarity in a tight voice,
is Sapphire Shores, the pony of Pop, and I believe that ruffian Rainbow Dash has just insulted her.
Miss Rarity, a pleasure as always, Sapphire drawled.
And no, there's no harm done. I was just asking whether I could buy your friend's remarkable ensemble for my upcoming Sapphire on Fire equestrian tour. She doesn't seem all that keen on the idea, but maybe you could whip me up 6 outfits just as glam-tastic, ow, with the dragon scales, of course.
Oh, Rarity said, momentarily nonplussed, before she drew herself up straight.
I'm afraid there's very little of the scales left for this year, and only the purple ones at that,
she said in a businesslike way.
I could probably get 1 outfit out of it, and even then the scales would be more in the nature of an accent rather than the main feature as with ours. Darling, we're ponies of the world here, Sapphire said, smiling. You're a business pony, and I'm doing business. Surely you can see to selling me your dress at least. That purple dazzler would be just fine for the big number about the big guy here.
She gave Spike an ingratiating look. Rarity set her mouth, and Spike could almost see the bit signs flaming in her eyes.
Mine's not for sale either,
she said. Sapphire gaped at Rarity for a moment before turning to Twilight, eyes imploring.
You think I'd sell my brother's scales?
Twilight asked her coolly.
You ponies do not know how this is meant to go,
Sapphire exclaimed.
I am Sapphire Shores, the pony of Pop. I'll make you famous. I don't need to be famous, said Twilight. I'm a librarian. Hey, I am famous.
Rainbow Dash waved her hoof breezily before burping loudly.
So am I,
Rarity said, swallowing hard.
And I am afraid, Miss Shores, that the material in question is seasonal stock and very limited. I can make you the outfit I described before, a genuine haute couture carousel boutique gown of the very finest quality, fit and fashion. It will be decorated with spike scales, but not encrusted. As for buying ours, well, these dresses are too important to each of us to become mere costumes.
Sapphire looked from one to the next, her eyes wide with indignation.
Well!
Turning on her heel, she sashayed haughtily away.
There goes a whole month's profits,
Rarity sighed.
She'll come to the boutique,
Twilight assured her.
She's got that song about Spike after all. Even an outfit with some scales on it would be better than one with none.
I can't believe you guys all told her no,
Spike said, staring after Sapphire in shock. Pinkie hauled Rainbow Dash to her feet.
Of course we did, silly Billy Spikeface,
she said, grinning.
These are only the bestest and most important dresses that Rarity's ever made for us.
The others nodded, and he smiled.
I don't know what to say, guys. It means so much that you wore my scales in the first place. And now this.
Don't say anything, Sugar Cube,
advised Applejack as Fluttershy propped her onto her hooves.
Tain't nothing you should say anyhow.
Spike heaved in a huge breath and released it before turning to Rarity.
I hope you had fun out there,
he said carefully. She smoothed a hoof over her coiffure, mussed from dancing.
It went satisfactorily,
she said modestly. Then she giggled lightheadedly, her hooves doing an excited little trot on the spot.
He's coming to see me this week,
she gasped.
In Ponyville.
He swallowed again, and his heart unclenched.
Wow, Nice one, Rarity, he said, as every pony either congratulated Rarity or shot him worried, sidelong looks.
It's just a date,
she said with badly concealed delight.
Rarity's got a colt friend,
Spike sang out mockingly, ignoring the little lurch inside. It would fade.
Oh, stop,
she said, her face reddening.
So, if he's not good to you,
Spike said, suddenly serious.
You know to tell me, right? I'll sort him out.
Twilight concealed a smile.
Dragons,
she said, in answer to Rarity's staggered expression.
I see,
Rarity said with a weak smile.
Is this the possessiveness that you were warning me about, Twilight?
No. This is your good friend speaking,
Spike said firmly.
You'll know when it's your dragon speaking.
It's late,
Fluttershy said.
And every pony is beginning to leave.
Spike rubbed a forepaw over his face.
Right, that's it. The Spike Express is leaving for Ponyville in 10 minutes. Let's get outside.
He stood once more, leaning back on his heels and stretching his legs out, before beginning a slow, careful walk across the ballroom floor. Luckily, he was hard to miss, and every pony mostly got out of his way, though a fairly inebriated Soren had to be tapped on the shoulder twice before he moved.
Well, it wasn't the disaster that last time was,
said Fluttershy with relief as they entered the nearly deserted great entrance hall, Applejack's hoofs slung over her shoulder.
That's debatable,
Twilight said with effort as she helped Pinky with the lulling rainbow dash.
These two sure wiped themselves out. You should really lighten up,
Dash said, swinging her head to Twilight's side and almost knocking their skulls together.
Sure,
Twilight said soothingly.
Come on, Rainbow Dash. I'm sure you'll be after a hangover cure in the morning, so come by the library, all right? Did you hear that, Applejack?
What? Applejack's head jerked up from drooping against her chest.
Oh, library,
she mumbled, and her head dropped back down with a thump.
I see you ponies had a fine time,
came a gruff voice, and Captain Falling Knight stepped forward, followed by his platoon.
It was mixed,
Spike said wryly.
We'll see you home, boy,
Knight said with a nod.
You didn't drink, did you? Can't abide drunk flyers. I'm underage, Captain,
Spike pointed out.
Doesn't answer the question,
Knight said, eyebrow lifting. Spike rolled his eyes as they moved into the still, cold night.
No, I didn't,
he said exasperatedly.
Got to check. Those are the rules.
Knight shrugged.
Well, get that harness on and let's get going.
I can't wait to get home,
Twilight muttered to him as she levitated the harness to his back. Spike stood obediently still as it settled around him, the buckles and straps tightening and cinching.
Me neither,
he said, blinking back up at the brightly lit castle before turning his face resolutely for home.